Trying out a new product today. We are going to be taking down some fencing, and I've talked about this in the past with the electric netting, twine, and braid. If you don't have a reel and you roll it up on a stick or roll it around your arm, it gets so tangled, and the next season you spend hours and hours untangling twine. But reels can be expensive. These are actually reels that are made for extension cords. They're like 10 bucks a reel on Amazon. I don't know how they're gonna work, so this isn't me saying they're gonna be good or not. I'm just trying them out. I'll have a link below for them, but again, I haven't tried them yet. We're testing these out today, so buyer beware. You can test them along with me this season. If I like them, they'll be next year's Gear of the Year. But I bought 5 of them, and the thing I like about them is they all have these little stands, so I can just stand them all up in the back of the gator. Then we have plenty of reels. The ones that you buy for electric fencing are more expensive. And you know, if you're trying to save money and you're not using them every day, these are probably a good way to do it. So we'll see. With that little stand, you can place them all in the back of the gator. And then when you bring them back, you can put them on the shelf like that. If they're just the reel, they kind of fall over and then they wind up getting tangled. So they're nice and neat this way. I don't know, we'll see if they work good. Let's go up on the hill. See how these work. I just finished using this for my first spool, small spool. Worked fine. Doesn't work as fast as a geared reel, but it's also like $90 cheaper than a geared reel. And I like that it's nice. Stand in the back of the gator, grab the next reel, and reel up some more twine. This spool will be a bigger one. Let's go do another.
Now what do I do?
Okay, looks real good, buddy. So now just take it like this, kind of tie it to itself so it doesn't get untangled.
Are we done now?
What do you think?
Yeah.
No. I have some really big plans for this first field here. That's what we call it on the property, first field. This field is huge. It's just enormous. And I've been mowing it. And I've been training dogs in it for bird hunting. I've been hunting over it for white-tailed deer. It's kind of multi-purpose here on this homestead. And I feel like as a homesteader, that's the way you do a lot of things. There's not like if you're a farmer and you just raise beef cattle, then this giant field is perfect for raising beef cattle. But for us, it has to do a couple different things. It has to be a place I can teach my dogs. It's a shooting range. It's a place to feed the cows. I want to hunt deer over it. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it next year. I always encourage homesteaders in the winter, if you live somewhere up north where you don't get out as much and it's colder and you can't do as much and the ground is frozen, the grass isn't growing, to spend time planning. And that's the state that we've entered now. We're in the planning stage. It's 2020 and we're thinking about what do we want to do this year. And I'm trying to figure out how am I going to use this field to do everything I want it to do and it work good enough for all those things. So what I'm going to do today, I want to take a drone and I'm going to fly my drone up in the air and I'm going to take some pictures of the whole property. Now a lot of you can use Google Earth for this, but because of the construction we've had on the property, putting in the new house, all these other things, our Google Earth images aren't exactly correct. So I really want to have a good accurate picture of our fields, where we can bring our livestock, where I can hunt, and I want to plan, because what I want to do is use the core center of the fields to feed livestock, because those core centers are going to be good grazing for our cows. We just interviewed Greg Judy not too long ago and he talked about a good plan for grazing animals. How do we move the cows through this giant area if we don't have any interior fencing?
So let's keep this real simple, Austin. Let's assume we have a square farm. Okay, it's a square block, and it's, in your case, it's 100 acres. So what the first thing that I would do in there is I would split that thing in two with one wire. Come right down the middle of it, put you in one high tensile wire. It's hot. So you've got a feeder source now going through the center of your farm. Now we have flexibility. So we can hook onto that center fence and we basically are just doing a circle around your farm. We're starting on one side, we'll go down this side. We get to the end, we've got a gate. We come through that gate and then we come back to the other side of your farm. And we already put the water in. We've got one water line going right down the middle of your farm with those quick couplers underneath that wire. And you don't have to bury that wire underneath gates.
While they're grazing, I still want to use these fields for hunting. But you hunt on the edges. Deer are edge animals, and if you want to put a tree stand up in a tree, you need to be at the edge of the field. If I have a 400-yard long field and I have a deer right in the middle of it and it's bow season, there's no point in sitting watching that deer in the middle of the field. I'll never get a shot. So we're going to try to put some grazing in the middle of the fields, leave the edges a little bit higher for some deer browse and some bedding. And to really plan this all out so it all works well together, I need some good aerial pictures so I can draw on them. I've showed in past videos how to draw your property to scale so you can work on it. But I want to work on some aerial photos and really come up with a good plan. So we're going to fly the drone, snap a few photos, hopefully before it starts raining here. And then we'll start putting together our plan for next year. We got to beat this rain, so come on out. This drone is the Mavic Air. It has served us well. Like I said, if you can't get a drone on your property, most of you can use Google Earth imaging to do this kind of thing just as well. We just happen to have inaccurate satellite photos and, well, we have a drone, so we're gonna give it a shot today. Come here, Bubba.
How does it?
We're gonna, let's see, put it. So we got some really good pictures of this field, and I'd like to get pictures of the third field because we can also work that field into our big strategy of hunting and grazing and the whole 9 yards. We're gonna finish taking down the twine here, head up to the third field, and take some more pictures, and then we'll be able to put together a nice plan for what we're gonna do next year, because it's always better to plan at your desk, drinking a hot coffee, or in my instance right now, some green drink. Hashtag TED, total elimination diet for the baby. But yeah, anyway, always better to plan at your desk than out in the field with all the tools and you're hot and you're sweaty and you're trying to figure out where you're gonna put your fencing. So obviously those drone videos you just saw were not filmed during the winter time. Those were taken in the much prettier fall season. The pictures I actually got looked a lot more like this, a lot more dead trees. But I was able to compile those pictures together to form a really nice aerial shot of our barn and the 2 fields and roads that access those fields. I compiled them into one, and I'm interested to find out, what would you do? How would you design this? Here is what we need in our design. We need an alley that they can access the barn daily for milking. We need water access in any grazing area. The tractor needs to be able to mow the fenced-in pasture areas in case the pastures are growing too much and the animals can't keep up. We want to be able to do easy daily moves for multiple species of animals. And we want to leave some areas of the fields for wildlife, deer hunting along the edges, dog work and training along the field. There's a shooting range. There's some heavily sloped areas. So it's a particularly challenging design. I have already come up with what I think I'm going to do, but I want to see what you come up with, and we'll share some ideas in a future upcoming video. So if you click in this link or the link in the description below, it will take you to a printable version of this picture where you can design what you would do, how you would use the fields, how you would have the animals leave the barn and rotate around your property. I'd love to see some good ideas for any of you who have experience pasturing livestock or who want to just give a try designing a good system that might work. We might put some of your ideas into effect. That excerpt that you saw of us interviewing Greg Judy is from the extended version of the Pioneers Live from the Barn show with Greg Judy. Click here to become a Homesteady Pioneer and you'll gain access to that interview and all the other interviews that we have in that library. You can download audio versions and listen to them as a podcast. There's a ton more content over there for the really serious homesteader. Click here to become a pioneer.